All right, so here's why 50 Cent is a top 10 rapper of all time. It's because he was a trendsetter. He has a major influence on some of the shit you see today. He was one of the first rappers to actually make it big based on dropping mixtapes. That's why some people were comparing Drake to 50 Cent when he first came out. Because Drake was dropping mixtapes and he got big off of it. But when it comes to 50 Cent, he was more organic. He really came from the bottom up. He came from the bottom, where after he got shot multiple times, no other record label wanted to sign him. They thought he was like damaged goods. So he brought it upon himself to just drop his own music, drop his own mixtapes, so he can be relevant, so he can get noticed. So record labels can trust him as an artist that they can market, that they can sell. So, like for example, what's the name? Lil Wayne. People think Lil Wayne was one of the trendsetters when it came to dropping mixtapes, but no. Lil Wayne got the concept of dropping mixtapes from 50 Cent. 50 Cent was the trendsetter. That's where it all started from. So when you see rappers like Lil B, Meek Mill, all these other guys who have dropped mixtapes in the past, that came from 50 Cent. If it wasn't for 50 Cent, rappers would have just resorted to just dropping music from YouTube. 50 Cent changed all that, where it's like, you don't have to be signed to a major label to be a famous rapper. 50 Cent was the first one to prove that to you. And 50 Cent just a whole nother trendsetter. It's like, people forget he had his own video game. He had multiple video games that I still have. I think the game was called Bulletproof, which was a great game. This guy has had his own movies, his own record label, his own shoes, his own clothing line. The fact that I think he is the last rapper since to go diamond. No other rapper since then has gone diamond. See what I'm saying? And there was a time where back in like 05, 06, 08, 50 Cent and G Unit, they were the hottest thing out at that time period. Maybe from 05 to 08. They were the hottest group. It's like 50 Cent, he had his own shoe deal. So you see Kanye West, right? You see how he has the Yeezys. Dude, 50 Cent was one of the first rappers to have his own shoe, which was the G Units from Reebok. He was one of the first rappers to have his own drink, which was vitamin water. It's like he just a whole trendsetter. He started a lot of shit that you see today that rappers have kind of gravitated towards. See, 50 Cent always focused on the business side of being a rapper. 50 was always relevant. He didn't have to even drop music to be relevant, because he was always on TV. He was always in movies. He was on TV shows. He was always relevant on social media, etc. He was always relevant. And the fact that he never had a bad album. Let's just be real. He never had a bad album. All his past albums after Get Rich or Die Trying, they could have sold more. But his record label, they was trying to cheat him, because they were trying to get out of his contract. What I mean by that is, they knew how popular he was, but they were sabotaging his sales. because they didn't want to continue paying him shitloads of money. See, that's what record labels do. When they feel like you are too popular, they will try to stop your momentum for your next album so they can lower your price tag on your next contract. See, 50 Cent always had great albums after that. See, niggas think he fell off. 50 Cent never fell off. He just, when it came to Interscope Records, they got lazy. They purposely sabotaged his record sales. They purposely sabotaged his promotion. See, that's what it was. So 50 Cent always had great albums. The fact that, dude, his mixtapes are better than some guys' whole albums. I have a lot of his mixtapes, which I still play. Most of his mixtapes are actually better than some guys' whole albums when it comes to the mainstream. It's like 50 Cent, he changed the game. He proved to you that you don't need to be a rapper for forever. It's like, hey, get in and get out. But stay relevant, but you don't have to stay relevant always dropping music. You can do other shit to keep people's names in their mouths, which 50 has done for the past damn near 20 years. See, 50 Cent, people can learn a lot from 50 Cent. He's one of the greatest like marketers of all time. See, when it comes to being a top 10 rapper of all time, you gotta be the whole package. You can't just have great bars. You gotta have great package. You gotta have great record sales. You gotta be a great marketer. How long was you relevant in a 10-year span? Did you ever fall off? 50 Cent never fell off, people. He never fell off. 50 Cent was always a famous guy, no matter what. He was always a draw. He was always doing shows. All his concerts always sold out. 50 Cent changed the game of hip-hop. From now and for the future. A lot of shit you're seeing today, 50 Cent was a main influence on that. You got sites, all these websites that promote mixtapes. You gotta thank 50 Cent for that. 50 Cent made mixtapes popular. He was a trendsetter. He was a trendsetter when it came to having your own label, having your own clothing line, shoe deals, having your own video game. He made a point on being a public figure more so than a rapper. That's what rappers need to focus on. It's like, yes, focus on making great music, but don't be known just for that. Be an entertainer. Be a character. That's what 50 Cent always focused on. He always focused on being a character. Where it's like, 50 hasn't came out with a song. 50 Cent has come with a fucking album, what, in 6 years? Maybe more than that. And yet he's still relevant. Just like Snoop Dogg. See, he learned a lot from fucking Snoop Dogg. Where stay relevant even when you are not making music. Take advantage of social media. Come on, man. When it comes to your top 10 rappers of all time, you have no choice but to put 50 Cent in that top 10. Based on the fact that no other rappers have had diamond sales since Get Rich or Die Trying. He changed the game. He put guys on. He made other guys famous. He had some of the best beefs. Everything 50 Cent did, you genuinely cared about it. He was the main attraction in pop culture for the past 15 years. He was always relevant. His beef with Rick Ross, Ja Rule, Fat Joe, Diddy, etc. Fucking Jadakiss. Fucking the dude named Cameron. Everything he touched always turned to gold. Whether He was with the game, beef with the game. He put the fucking game on. But look, we wouldn't know who the game is, man, if it wasn't for 50 Cent giving him the rub. By 50 Cent putting him on. People forget the game. Remember that video in the club? The game was in that video dancing. 50 Cent put him on, people. So when it comes to being a global icon, yes, 50 Cent is a top 10 rapper of all time. Just he has so many hit songs. He has so many songs you never heard of before because he has so many mixtapes. He has so many fucking mixtapes. I haven't even heard some of them yet. Some of his mixtape songs are better than some of his songs from his albums. He can win a versus battle against Ja Rule based on his mixtapes. Let that sink in. I mean, he's way better than T.I. Who had the better career, T.I. or 50 Cent? Of course, it was 50 fucking Cent. It's not even close. That's why it was laughable that T.I. wanted to challenge 50 Cent to a battle of verses. I'm like, huh? T.I., you will get your ass whooped in a versus battle with 50 Cent. His mixtapes can beat all your albums. Let that sink in. But the point of the matter is, I've been following 50 Cent since 02, 03. He's a top 10 rapper of all time based on his whole body of work outside of music and with music. That counts for a lot. Having a big name in hip hop, that counts for a lot. He has a huge name as Curtis Jackson, the entertainer, and 50 Cent, the rapper. He's versatile. Every rapper should strive to be 50 Cent. He's one of the greatest businessmen of all time, the greatest marketers of all time. He changed the game of rap. Without him, there would be no mixtape. There would be no rappers on the underground getting big based on mixtapes. 50 Cent made all that happen. If 50 Cent failed when it came to his mixtapes, there would be a lot of rappers today struggling to get big. If it was for 50 Cent putting that out there to drop mixtapes, if you want to get noticed. So my opinion is 50 Cent is a top 10 rapper of all time. All right, I'm done.